My name is Clara Hawthorne, and on my wedding day, my new mother-in-law attempted to humiliate me by wearing a white, floor-length bridal gown. She smiled, confident she had won the social battle she had waged for months. But she did not realize that I had already signed the contracts that transferred her entire financial fate, including the criminal debts that would have ruined her, into my possession. Just moments later, as a slideshow played on a massive screen for 300 guests, I watched her composure shatter as the true cost of my quiet, humble background was revealed. My journey to marrying into the prestigious Beaumont family was defined by 2 years of meticulous planning, both romantic and strategic. My fiancé, Julian, was everything I could ask for, kind and respectful, but his mother, Patricia, was a relic of old money snobbery. My background was indeed humble, built entirely on hard work and private ambition, a fact Patricia never missed an opportunity to underscore. She spent months making thinly veiled insults about my breeding, suggesting I was too common to manage the Beaumont legacy, and frequently remarked that the wedding felt more like a community potluck than an event worthy of their name. She often lamented that the family's standards were slipping, a commentary always directed squarely at me, referencing my parents' modest home and my lack of ancestral crests. Her disapproval was constant, woven into seemingly innocuous social observations. The luxury vineyard estate we chose for the ceremony was breathtaking, a perfect canvas for the elegant, understated affair I had envisioned. I ignored her barbs, focusing instead on the deep affection Julian and I shared. I mistakenly believed that love and competence would eventually earn me her respect, a naivety that only fueled her condescension. Patricia's world was defined by appearances, and my quiet life simply did not fit her expensive narrative. The injustice when it arrived was a public spectacle of breathtaking arrogance. On the day of my wedding, as I stood ready to walk down the aisle in my custom silk gown, the receiving line paused. Patricia, Julian's mother, swept into the atrium in an ostentatious, diamond-white dress that was clearly designed to imitate a bridal gown, complete with lace detailing and a modest train. It was not cream or ivory. It was pure, aggressive white, a physical declaration of her belief that she deserved the spotlight more than I did. Every guest turned to stare, and a wave of shock rippled through the room. I felt the heat rise in my cheeks, but I stood still and smiled. I did not make a scene. The ceremony proceeded as planned, with Patricia positioning herself prominently, basking in the deliberate scandal she had manufactured. During the cocktail hour, she moved through the crowd, speaking loudly to the society reporters and family friends. I overheard her telling a cousin that Julian had only been able to afford the catering because she, Patricia, had graciously allowed him access to her personal accounts, implying that she was the financial backbone and the true patron of the event. She asserted that this wedding was her gift to the couple, a final, necessary polish to my tarnished social standing. She even pointedly discussed her painstaking efforts to select the champagne, a gesture I knew was meant to imply my taste was insufficient. Have you ever had someone try to take credit for your achievements or deliberately steal a moment of your happiness? Tell me in the comments, because that feeling of quiet fury can be a powerful catalyst. The true context of my life was something Patricia entirely failed to grasp. She saw a former administrative assistant who married well. She did not see Clara Hawthorne, the silent force behind Aura Collective, an e-commerce empire specializing in high-end, bespoke home goods. While she imagined I was at home struggling to pick linens, I was discreetly overseeing a global supply chain and closing 9-figure deals. My humble background was actually a secret weapon. It taught me discipline and anonymity, qualities utterly lacking in the Beaumont world. The nights Patricia assumed I was watching reality television were spent in my home office, lit by 4 monitors, managing international logistics and quarterly audits, sometimes coordinating private charter flights to ensure supply chain integrity across 3 continents. Over the past 5 years, Aura Collective had grown exponentially, generating revenue far exceeding the entire net worth of the Beaumont family. I had intentionally kept my professional success hidden, preferring the freedom of privacy over the burdens of public scrutiny and the expectations of venture capitalists. This quiet control allowed me to move capital discreetly, a necessity for the scale of my operations. My financial life was a fortress of quiet competence, unknown to Julian's family, all of whom saw only the surface level of my ambition, believing my expensive simplicity was merely good taste, not deliberate camouflage.
Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Turn on bell notification to stay updated for more revenge stories.
The turning point was discovering the hypocrisy of Patricia's financial superiority. 3 months before the wedding, while setting up shared accounts with Julian, his family's longtime financial advisor discreetly approached me with a grave concern. He revealed that Patricia was not merely liquidating assets, she was deep in severe debt. The advisor, fearing the family's ruin, showed me confidential documents detailing a substantial, unsecured loan she had taken to cover a series of reckless investments in exotic real estate bonds that had defaulted. Worse, the contract for that loan contained terms that bordered on criminal, exposing her to massive lawsuits and possible legal action should she default, which she was perilously close to doing. The debt was significant enough to erase the Beaumont family fortune entirely and destroy their social standing. She was losing her social reputation and possibly her freedom, and Julian, blinded by filial loyalty, had no idea. The opportunity instantly replaced my humiliation with icy focus. I did not just have a chance to secure my own dignity, I had the strategic opening to secure Julian's family legacy, save them from public ruin, and claim permanent, unquestionable control over the Beaumont social structure. The wedding was no longer just a celebration. It was a theater for a perfectly timed, irrevocable power shift. My plan was executed with cold precision. First, I went directly to the third-party creditor holding Patricia's crippling loan. Utilizing my company's massive financial reserves and my own legal team, I negotiated a full purchase of the debt along with all associated contracts and legal documents, transferring the entire liability, and thus all control, into the hands of my shell holding company, registered under the name Phoenix Acquisition Trust. This transaction was swift, clinical, and completely untraceable back to me by conventional means. Patricia, assuming she was dealing with a faceless collection agency, was completely unaware the new owner of her fate was her future daughter-in-law. Second, I paid for every single aspect of the luxury wedding, from the venue and flowers to the photographer and open bar. The final cost was staggering, but I viewed it as an investment in future tranquility. I paid every vendor directly using my corporate accounts, ensuring the invoices and contracts all bore the name of Aura Collective's holding entity. I deliberately created a paper trail that proved, beyond a doubt, that Patricia had lied about funding the wedding. Finally, I instructed my legal team to compile the key documents, specifically the payment confirmations for the wedding and the contract proving I owned her debt, into a discrete, high-resolution digital file. This file was secretly integrated into the wedding reception's planned media presentation, which was ostensibly titled "A Look Back at Our Journey," cued to follow the 5-minute mark of the photo montage. The public payback arrived swiftly during the grand reception. After dinner, the Master of Ceremonies announced the emotional thank you slideshow. The ballroom darkened, and photos of Julian and me flashed across the massive projection screen. I waited patiently. Patricia, wineglass in hand, was reeling a table of society matriarchs, proudly rehashing her version of the wedding's generosity, occasionally shushing people near the screen. Then the screen shifted. The soft background music stopped with a jarring digital skip. A crystal-clear image of the massive wire transfer receipt for the wedding venue purchase, clearly displaying the payer's name, Clara Hawthorne, and the total sum, replaced our romantic photos. The amount, visible in bold typeface, was astronomical. Gasps filled the room, replacing the gentle buzz of conversation. The image then dissolved into a copy of Patricia's debt contract, detailing the crippling amount owed, quickly followed by a legal document showing the debt had been purchased by my holding entity, effectively making me her creditor. The illumination from the projector cast a harsh white light on Patricia's face, freezing her mid-sentence. Her eyes, fixed on the screen, went wide with dawning comprehension. The humiliation was absolute, factual, and witnessed by the entire upper echelon of her social world. I met Patricia's horrified, trembling gaze. I offered her a serene, quiet smile. In the aftermath, Patricia did not scream or argue. She simply went pale, realizing the cold, complete extent of her ruin and the legal exposure she now faced. Julian's uncle, the family lawyer, gently guided her away from the viewing area, recognizing the severity of the legal situation that had just been publicly confirmed. Julian, who learned the truth only at the same moment the guests did, looked at me with a mixture of shock and profound respect. The wedding was not ruined. It was cemented as a legendary display of quiet, factual power. The dignity I sought was not granted by Patricia. It was earned and paid for by me. She attempted to shame me for my breeding, but true class is not inherited. It is demonstrated through strategic competence and financial dominance. There is a deep, abiding peace in knowing that the people who underestimate you are the ones who ultimately give you the power to secure your own victory. The price of grace is often silent preparation, waiting for the perfect moment to pay the invoice. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel to enjoy more revenge and inspiring stories like this one. Where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments and tell us what you think about this story.
Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, turn on bell notification to stay updated for more revenge stories.